You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. Welcome, everybody. Michael Hasser, John Lithium, Derry Bennett, Galactic Streamlord. Hey, welcome. Bruno. Yeah, I saw that someone passed out at the Oval Office, and RFK Jr. Decided to split the moment that happened. Welcome, everybody. It is Friday, Junior. Happy Friday indeed. It's basically the weekend. 10 stream streak. Look at that. Nice. Folks, before we get started, do all the things. Check out all the links. And check out my show on this space Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Seriously, folks, go sub and go check out this space. They do live content, syndicated content, all kind of stuff. There's something there for everyone. Including me. Also, take a second, folks, to shout out Galactic Streamlord, also known as GNN Galactic News Network, previously on YouTube. So go show some support. Alright, folks, let's get started because time is of the essence. I got pretty tripped up at work. So we gotta go. Gotta go and try to get through as much of this as possible.
It is hard to know what the implications are, like in predictive of what we've seen in terms of Mamdani, what we've seen in terms of Spanberger, what we've seen in terms of Sherrill and the Virginia State House and Georgia statewide elections. Like all of that, I think, people can say like, this looks like a pretty good situation for
welcome.
Democrats in midterm. We can't know, but I think that's a fair assessment. If we're making that assessment, Democratic lawmakers are making that assessment. Republican lawmakers are making that assessment.
Maybe.
Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and Russ Vought are making that assessment. They have been trying to make sure that Republicans win these midterm elections. They're trying to gerrymander. California just went with Proposition 50. California is going to mitigate some of that gerrymandering. Maryland might mitigate some of that gerrymandering. We may see it in other states.
Yep.
They have a notion now of like how over the median Democrats have to perform, and they're performing that way, at least now. So their level of panic is going to increase. If Democrats take the House or Democrats take the Senate, either one, they can start having hearings. They can start interfering with ICE. They can start interfering. I mean, they can't do everything, but they can build upon this. They have a platform.
I mean, yeah, ideally, you'd want them to use it, but
And so Trump is terrified, I believe, and I think we're going to see federal troops in New York. I think we're going to see federal troops in other blue cities sooner than we would have, and with more force, because they want to create a chaotic environment. I don't know if that will necessarily work, but that's what their theory is. And Trump wants to get this shutdown over with. And so he's been telling them, like, get rid of the filibuster.
Yep.
But without compromising. He wants to get the shutdown over with, but he doesn't want Democrats.
Yeah,
to,
he just wants to get his way, and then like that's it. But it's not going to work that way. And certainly, these elections have shown Democrats that really the blame so far is mostly on Republicans.
have any.
Yeah, at any point, Republicans could technically end the shutdown, as we discussed yesterday. At any point, the Republicans can make a decision to govern and end the shutdown. But they won't because they suffering is the point, right? Cruelty is the point. Making sure people don't have SNAP benefits when they easily could release the emergency funds or just simply open the government is the point. That's why they don't want that. They want Obamacare subsidies to expire so that poor people have to pay more for their health insurance. That's what they want. This is not up for debate. That is literally their plan. I mean, what else? Like if there is any other purpose or explanation for the actions that they're taking, I'm open to hearing it. But there doesn't seem to be any other explanation other than they want people to suffer. They want people to be desperate. And from there, you can kind of hypothesize why they might do that. But at the end of the day, that's the end game, right? They want people to suffer. They want people to pay more for their health care. They want people off of food benefits. It's just that simple.
Input. It's part of what the strategy of Mike Johnson sending all those House Republicans on paid vacation for that long was twofold. One, it was because he wants to avoid the Epstein files and he doesn't want to have to swear in Grijalva to force a vote on that. But perhaps even more importantly, within the context of what we're talking about, he wanted to signal that the negotiation's over. The bill that the House passed is what the Senate needs to eat fully, and if they don't pass it, then we're just going to keep the government shut down. But that it's untenable right now.
Right, and he knows that he can't show any weakness.
Yeah.
If the Republicans even negotiate this stuff and don't screw over the Democrats, it's basically showing some weakness, and
Yep.
they're gonna
Right, but there's no way out of this, right? Like there's no way out of this without doing that.
fill that vacuum. Here we go.
It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation.
Bad shape. We
There'll be
won't pass any
passed
legislation.
For 3.25. We have 3.25 years left. That's a long
That's great. Yes. Well said, Mr. President, sir.
time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked for ever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out.
They can't because the moment the Republicans aren't coming at this from good faith. They're not. If Democrats decide to reopen the government tomorrow, right? Like if they sign that continuing resolution, and fund the government, you will never hear any talks about healthcare again. Like that'll be it. It'll be done.
We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass
Yeah.
all
So
of
basically, what he's saying is like, okay, listen, all right, listen. The remaining parts of the mask, okay, to the extent that there's a mask on right now, is getting heavy. Okay, let's get a move on, folks. Okay, we want to restrict voting as much as possible. Okay, we want to restrict the amount of people that are able to vote, including military, because that's how they vote. We should make sure that we pass these repressive ID laws, with the intent of making sure that as little people vote as possible. Let's just get a move on with this. Okay, I'm tired. Okay, I'm getting sleepy. Okay, we only have until 2026. It's about 1 year. 1 year. One horrible year. And that's it. Because he knows that he's cooked. that CR was done in bad faith? 100%. Like, yeah, oh, it's just a clean bill. Okay, but they're never going to talk about healthcare, and then healthcare prices go up, and then they're going to turn around and try to blame Democrats for it.
Things that we want to pass make our elections secure and safe because
There's no reason why to believe that our elections aren't secure. The only people that are threatening the integrity of elections and the security of elections are Republicans. Straight up, point blank, fact. That is not up for debate. That is not hyperbole. That is not an exaggeration. Literally, the only people that pose a threat to our election integrity and security are Republicans. It's that simple. They're the ones who tried to overturn the 2020 elections. Okay? They're the ones who are constantly, for decades, pushing for these laws to try to make sure that less people vote. Okay? They're the ones that are trying to argue in front of the Supreme Court to get rid of the last vestiges of the Voting Rights Act. Because they want to draw up districts to favor their party. It's not clean. It's not clean either. It's dirty as hell. Oh, I believe it. With Republicans, it's you can't assume that they're trying to negotiate in good faith. So I believe that. The only people trying to rig elections are Republicans, right? Like, they're literally fighting to do that right now. They literally threatened to redistrict 5 seats to try to give themselves an edge. Okay, the only reason why California did the things that they're doing right now with Prop 50 and all of this is to counteract the cheating that Republicans are doing. That's it. Like, that's why this is all happening.
California is a disaster.
It's not.
Many of the states are disasters.
Wait, what are you talking about? Many of the states. Are you not the president? Are they disasters because you can't govern? Like, who's in charge here then? Especially since our first CR, Chuck Schumer, chickened out and caved in. Yep.
But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID.
No, you don't. What are you talking about? That doesn't happen unless you're buying things that are not meant for folks under 18. You never need an ID to buy groceries unless you're buying something that requires you to prove that you're an adult. That is literally the only reason why you would need an ID.
You go to a gas station, you give ID.
You don't. Yeah, I've never given my ID to get gas. That has never happened. Again, the only time you would ever show an ID anywhere, whether it be a restaurant or whether it be a gas station, because I guess they sell beer, is if you want something that is only purchasable by adults, whether it be 18 and older or 21 and older if it's alcohol. That's it. It's not to confirm whether or not you're a citizen. Okay? Like, the whole analogy doesn't work because the only reason they're IDing you is to make sure that you are of age. That's it. Anyone who is of age and has a valid ID can buy alcohol. That's not even remotely. It doesn't make any sense. You don't need to be a citizen to buy alcohol.
But for voting, they want no voter ID.
Correct.
He said this before.
They cheat.
Okay, but
Not requiring not requiring voting ID is not cheating. Like, what are you talking about? Penthouse variations, I hear. I'm pretty sure they ask for your ID to vote in Europe, but over there it's pretty much mandatory to carry one. Yeah, I mean, we need ID to vote. You need to show your ID. But the point being is, like, look, all of it is designed to make less people vote. That's what the outcome. That's what the desired outcome is for voter ID laws, especially in the way that is designed by Republicans. That's why they want them. They want them because they know that it's a hurdle. No matter how small or how big the hurdle may be, if it means that 0.5% people don't vote, then that's a good thing for them.
Let's just be clear here.
So
First off, there's a couple things. Trump just admitted that it's Republicans who are standing in the way of any type of legislation going forward, right? They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. They can do this. And then he says, we're going to pass our agenda. What is our agenda? Nothing, except for trying to ensure that we can win the midterms.
exactly.
I mean, literally nothing.
Yep.
This is also why it would be good for the Republicans to get rid of the filibuster, because Democrats will never do it on their own. They're too cowardly.
Yep.
True.
They're too cowardly.
True.
They're too cowardly. And Republicans are afraid of getting rid of the filibuster too, because once you get rid of the filibuster, you actually, as a political party, have to own your decisions. You have to own them.
And the Republicans don't want to get rid of the filibuster because it benefits them disproportionately. Yeah. We've said this before. You know, under Biden, there were at one point 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republican senators. And the 50 Democratic senators represented 40 million more people than the 50 Republican senators, because Montana has the same number of senators as California does. So it is undemocratic in the construction of the institution. And then you put on another layer of undemocracy of the filibuster needing a 60 vote threshold
And let's
for
be
most
clear.
legislation. Yeah.
The first thing you're talking about, that Montana and California have the exact same amount of representation in the Senate, is
Yeah, ID voting laws in the U.S. is pretty much made to gerrymander. It's a form of discrimination. Yep. Galahad in the UK, at least you needed to vote, but there's no need to carry it around with you unless you're buying age-restricted products.
constitutional. The filibuster
is
just habit. That's basically it.
Right.
It's
And they're
just
looking at a guy with historic unpopularity right now, telling them to give up their major strategic advantage in the Senate because he wants to ram his bill through and doesn't want to have to negotiate with Democrats to save their own ass, by the way. He's worried about the midterms.
Yep.
Because
That's it.
That's it.
He doesn't care about anything else.
But rigging it, though, or intimidating his way because he doesn't want
Yes, because he also knows that if somehow, by some way, Democrats manage to win, he's cooked. Like it's done. His presidency essentially ends, right? Bella Lugrizi, welcome. Soul Life, welcome. I clicked the Kyle Kalinske video and I came here. I mean, so be it. Godspeed. Thank you, Kyle Kalinske, for linking to my channel. I don't know. YouTube is weird like that. YouTube does that, by the way. It's happened to me too. I don't know why. I don't know what's up with the way YouTube works, but that's happened to me before. Either you end with strong bicameralism or remove the Senate, but completely unicameralism. I would love for there to be a scenario where the Senate just disappears or gets like integrated with the House of Representatives and acts like a section of the House. Does that make sense? But other than that, I don't know how we would get rid of the Senate, other than just to say like, well, the Senate exists, but it's now part of the House. You know what I mean? Heat, how's it going? We like to use magic spells. That's right.
a cave. But the problem for him is that if these ACA subsidies, they let them expire,
I clicked on Love Island and came here. The abolition of the Senate. Yes, with fire. You could still keep the Senate, but with very weak powers. Yeah, I mean, you just integrate it with the House and say like, okay, well now the Senate is like kind of like it's kind of like now just a section of the House, right? Don't tell anybody. A sufficient amount of kinetic energy is how you get rid of the U.S. Senate. Direct election of the Senate members is still a good idea. Yeah, it'll be it'll just be absorbed into the House. I mean, again, I don't know like under what would be the most efficient way of getting like rid of the Senate within the confines of what we have to work with, but that's probably the best way to do it, because it wouldn't like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't really disrupt how we operate as a government, right? Because it would just be the same, right? It would be the House, the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch. They would still all exist in the same way. The Senate would still exist in the same way. It's just now part of the House, and they have to vote with the House members. They don't have like a special like power or anything like that. They would just be a part of the House, much like how there's an arms committee, how there's an intelligence committee, how there's a foreign affairs committee or whatever. Trump basically ignores all of Congress and the judicial branch. Yep, that's true.
Every Republican is going to be up for re-election in the fall in 2026 in the House. They could get wiped out over that. So, I mean, he's putting them in a horrible position, which is actually good. Yeah.
And I think that, you won't see Democrats saying, well, he just admitted that the Republicans, if they don't pass any legislation, it's a function of the Republicans. They have the ability to get rid of the filibuster. And let's be clear, they've done it 3 times already this year. They did it to roll back cafe standards, I think it was, in California. There was 2 other times that they literally nuked the filibuster. And they could do it here. And if they do, though, that means Democrats have a license now to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that for them. The Senate would only vote in specific laws, not every law like now. They don't vote with the House members. They would only be called in for certain laws. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe that could work. Maybe the Senate could be like if there's like a serious like tie-up in the House or something, you could bring in the Senate, or the Senate becomes like a symbol, much like how Puerto Rico has like technically a representative. DC technically has a representative, but they don't really do anything. The Senate can kind of be like that, but also function as a way of like tie breaking, maybe, or maybe like they have more investigatory powers instead. Like instead of like doing laws, they would just like manage. They would just manage like committees instead, and let the legislators legislate. I don't know. There's different ways of dealing with this. If you want an idea of just how much difficulty realistically faced, perhaps the most damning tell as to the anti-democratic intentions of the founding fathers. That's what they do in France and Italy and Poland. The U.S. Constitution, Article 5, the Congress, whenever 2/3 call a convention for proposing, of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to the Constitution or an application of legislative to. 2/3 of the states shall call a convention for proposing amendments in which either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes of part of this Constitution when ratified by legislature. Yep. This is the 5th Amendment. No state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Okay, you can have your Senate, it just won't do anything. It just won't do the same powers that it did as a separate, as a separate body.
And Chuck Schumer is very afraid of that. There are Democrats who are afraid of that.
Right, like obviously why the fuck would Wyoming ever consent? Right, but like the Senate could still exist, technically. It just won't be like a separate body, right? Like you could still have your senators. You won't be denied your senators, and they'll still function. It just won't be the same. Yeah, but maybe that would work. But my point is how to get anything. We just need bare minimum. You need to just outright ignore the Constitution and get a whole new cloth. Oh yeah, I mean, like if you gave me like omnipotent powers, right, to just snap my fingers and say like, okay, what do we need to do? Yeah, of course, I would agree with you and just be like, okay, well, let's start from scratch, okay? I would love that. You might be able to amend Article 1 to narrow its jurisdiction, like you're saying. You have a Senate, it votes on no laws. Yeah, or something like that. Or if like, it can't be deprived of equal suffrage in the Senate. Okay, well, that means they can still vote, but they'll have to vote with the House. You know what I mean? Like that would dilute their power because they won't have a whole separate body jamming up stuff, that has to go through the House and then Senate and back and forth and none of that. They would just be integrated with the House, and they could still even vote. It'd just be like House members, but they just have a special asterisk that says the Senate section of the House. You know what I mean? Like they don't get to overrule and jam up and gum up democracy. They just act like the House. You know what I mean? And you still get technically the within the constitutional confines, or whatever. I'll take whatever the F we can get done. I agree. But that would be a way if you had to do it within the confines of what you have to work with, playing the cards that you have, the cards that were dealt to you. That's probably the best way to do it. Other than that, yeah, I mean, of course, start from scratch, make a new constitution, one that actually lives up to the supposed vision. The mythologized vision that the founding fathers that we keep hearing and told about aspire to. Karkenstein's Monster, Violet Quinlaw, welcome everybody.
Because you don't want like you need a built-in excuse. That's why Cuomo created the IDC, is because he needed a cover as to why he wasn't signing off on progressive legislation because it would interfere with the donors. Let's get rid of the filibuster. I am with Donald Trump on this. That's the thing. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I agree with Donald.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, refresh if you need to. Refresh, folks. Refresh. We're back. I don't know. I'm not sure there's any benefit whatsoever to bicameralism, reviewing the comparative studies on bi versus unicameral countries. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to that at all. You do at least 3 groupings to have any checks and balances, otherwise you end up with a uniparty system. Uh-oh. No, we're good. Because obviously they're objectively the less democratic of the 2 chambers. Yep.
Now, they're getting worried.
Making your point from earlier.
They're getting worried. They're starting to realize. And look, I don't think the issue is impeachment. I think they know this. They're saying impeachment because that gets their people a little bit agitated. But I don't think the Democrats are going to come in and impeach Donald Trump. Why would you? At this point,
to make a point, because it's right. Because he deserves to be impeached. Like the guy, unless they capture the Senate, right? I guess because impeaching him without the Senate is kind of an exercise in futility. Although I think that regardless, you should hold the whole point of the House, besides legislating, is to act as a checks and balances to the executive by being able to do things like impeach people.
Who had maybe both houses, but even then, I think what we're going to do is they're just going to actually do some real, genuine investigation hearings that can become like shows. Incidentally, which they should have done during the first Trump administration, but Pelosi didn't want to get too involved in it. Richie Neal didn't want to get involved in it. They're all cowards.
But Jamie Raskin, if he's head of that committee in after 2026, oh boy.
Yep.
I told him this morning what we've talked about many times and what I've said.
Any change you can think of, conservative will use it to advantage, and things will be worse. You leave it as it is. Maybe maybe that may be the case. Never underestimate conservatives' ability to make things. I mean, he said he's talking about he's talking about like destroying the filibuster for the purpose of putting democracy on check, right? But I guess what Sam is doing is calling their bluff, right? Because if they do want to make things worse, it only gets worse for them. I think is the logic here. Because I don't disagree that obviously Republicans' motives for things would be worse. Like if we wage magic wands, we should want perhaps to elevate a sort of auditor or whistleblower class to the fourth branch. And have them periodically impaneled like a jury, and funding mechanisms and powers carved out, and they audit and report to the public. We kind of do, but not for everything, right? Like we kind of do have, we kind of do have some kind of system like that. In fact, I'm pretty sure there was like a whole fight over this of who gets to oversee like whistleblowers in the, I want to say DOJ. That was found to have a like Nazi streak or whatever. That was the whole thing behind that guy being confirmed or not confirmed. But yeah, maybe this should be applied more wholesale. Maybe it should be applied more wholesale, where we have this kind of specific quote fourth branch, but for a more broader purpose, like presidential, embedded in the executive or something. I don't know. If you want better outcomes, win elections. I mean, that is a part. Congress can whistleblow on the executive right now. Yeah, they can, but the problem with that is, and just to be clear, yes, of course. My only problem is that the Congress can be compromised in ways that, for example, a separate entity like a bureaucratic entity can't be, right? Does that make sense? Like Congress should be the one to take the lead, and Congress should be, and on paper can act as not only just a whistleblower, but as a way of putting in check the other branch. But they don't do that because it's they're compromised. Versus something like perhaps maybe a separate entity that is more bureaucratic, that is harder to compromise, right? Not that it'd be invulnerable, but it would be difficult. It would be difficult to compromise a more bureaucratic position that than say a compromised political body like Congress. Just admit that conservative lawyers and think tanks can out-strategize anyone on our side. Progressive legislation and SCOTUS decisions have been made with the structure we have now. Don't throw it away because of a temporary setback. I mean, yeah, you may have a point. I think that that's mostly because they're operating within the capitalist kind of system versus not, and they have all that capital behind them. Or maybe again, still in a magic wand brainstorming land, we have Congress determined not by elections, but instead like a jury of effectively a process to randomly select statistically representative samples of the population periodically. I mean, maybe that's another way of handling it. I mean, like having a representative Congress, like, necessarily isn't like the worst idea. It's just a matter of like having a way of making it work instead of being broken like this, right? Tesla shareholders approve Musk's $1 trillion pay package. Well, congratulations to Mr. Musk, Superboy genius of the planet. Jesus Christ. Ladybug, welcome. States can do that right now. The Constitution gives the state rights to choose electors by a method they want, including certification. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. That's not a joke. Like, I wish that was like a joke, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, whatever, right? Like, who cares? Bankrupt your own company to take like $1 trillion pay package? Who cares, right? Like, he's just hollowing it. Like, for all Elon Musk gives a crap, like, he could just like that, because that's like that's the pathway, right? Like, that's what's in vogue, right? You hollow out and you scrape companies for whatever they're worth, and then like, who cares? Who cares if they go bankrupt? Who cares about the other shareholders? As long as Elon Musk gets his $1 trillion package, who cares, right? Like, what about the workers? Who cares? The cars? Who cares? Tesla's not about cars. It's about making Elon Musk a trillionaire. That's what this is. I agree, Seth Evans. Tesla's already crashing and burning anyways. Yeah, might as well get whatever you can. Like, Tesla announced that more than 75% of shares voted in favor of the pay package during the company's annual shareholder meeting. Fantastic. The vote didn't include the 15% of the company that Musk already owns. That's fantastic. The crowd at the meeting broke into cheers and chants when the results were announced. Must thank the shareholders and Tesla board soon after. I super appreciate it. I hate this timeline. I hate this timeline. I open up the simulation, okay? I want a new one. Okay, dump me in a new like respawn, okay? Like, respawn me like circa like 1990, okay? So respawn me circa 1990. Let's just run it back, okay? Let's just run the clock back, because Jesus Christ, we effed up, okay? Just get me out, unplug me, okay? Unplug me out of the Matrix and take me back. Put me in back in 1990. Let's just run it again.
Before, the president is on the ballot in 2026. President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority of the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2.
That sounds good. I don't want to watch this a second time. I remember most of it. Would you agree that ChatGPT makes better jokes than Grok? I have no idea. I didn't know Grok can make jokes. We find out Elon Musk taking out big fat short bets on Tesla. Do I hear that crazy Pelosi is retiring? Good, another defeat for the do-nothing Republicans, Democrats. Pelosi, the old nut job's home. Pelosi, radical Pelosi. Put me in a sensory deprivation tag with enough ass and I'll get you a better alternate universe. Please, whatever it takes. Please, God. Like the fact that we are even reading a headline where like, you know, whatever X name of a person, right? Like X person is like on their way to earn $1 trillion package. $1 trillion. Okay. Like, I don't think that like, folks, do you know what like $1 trillion is? It is unfathomable. Okay, like we talk about how unfathomable like $1 billion is. Okay, or how obscene hundreds of billions of dollars are. $1 trillion, like for all intents and purposes, like it's just beyond math. It's just unlimited money. Okay, it is just unlimited money. There's not enough. There isn't like Elon Musk's like generations would never run out of money, ever. For the foreseeable future, as far as we're concerned, like $1 trillion. Yeah, 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. It's obscene. That's right. $1 trillion laid end to end would stretch 96,906,656 miles further in distance to the Earth to the Sun. It is obscene.
They will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027, and they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people to lower costs, to have a better quality of living, on health care, to increase access and quality of care. We are the party that is doing that, and the president needs 4 years to complete his agenda.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's numbers on a screen, but like that's kind of it, right? Like at any point he can just say like, well, give me like 200,000 of that for my next like whatever, or give me like 2 million, 10 million, 300 million for my next yacht or whatever. Like,
not just two. So he is in
take some of those numbers out of the screen for me, please.
a very real sense on the ballot. He's fiercely committed to us winning. He is going to help. He's offered to do rallies and the teletown halls and all the things. He's sent out a huge round of endorsements of incumbents, Republican incumbents, just over the last few days. He is very much engaged, very dialed in, and he understands the stakes. President Trump is on the ballot in 2026, and we're looking forward to that contest.
I'm looking forward to having him campaign in every one of those frontline Republican House districts.
Yeah, why was he not
That's right.
campaigning in New Jersey?
Yeah, let's have him.
And that's all it really ever stood in for anyways, the power. That's right. Yep. That's precisely it. So another way of putting it is that Elon Musk is literally like unlimited power. Unlimited power! That's literally Elon Musk for all intents and purposes. Hey, has anyone watched the movie Don't Look Up? Yeah. If you haven't, go look at it. Attaboy, Mike, keep telling the woke to F off. It's all government contract money. We shouldn't give Elon another dollar. I agree.
Weird.
I think we should expropriate everything that Elon owns.
Visit Mike Lawler a couple of times.
Yeah.
They can pal around. They can go to a diner.
Chitterelli was, very much in the Trump vein, leaning into immigration, but seemingly odd that the president of the United States didn't want to use his bully pulpit to help some of the candidates. It's almost like he's more of a liability.
I don't like his name. I just don't like his name.
I'll do a teleconference.
Chitterelli? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You should change his name to
Onion Plug. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Eager, welcome. What is this feeling? Hope? A little bit. There's a little bit. The Southern Neighbors did a good thing. Well, we did a small W thing. You know what I mean? Like, it does give me a little bit of good feeling. Despite of all the bad news and the bad stuff, it does give me a little bit of hope. It makes me it does make me feel a little bit hopeful. Nationalize everything that Elon Musk owns. Yeah, I agree. I think that he should be taken for everything that he has. Instead of automation, they mean they didn't need to feed people to maintain production anymore. More people hungry in West today than in the 60s. Yep, I would be generous and leave Elon with whatever they give federal prisoners on release. What a bus fare to start his life to getting a real job like the rest of us. Yeah, it's he's so smart, right? And he works so hard. He worked so hard. Obviously, he worked a bajillion times harder. So naturally, if he was given nothing, his hard work ethic and his super intelligence, will get him back to the place where he was. I'm sure of it. Yeah, prove you can do it again. It was a while ago, but didn't we went over a story of someone who of someone who really literally tried that, and spoiler alert, they couldn't do. They didn't. They didn't even last a month, I think, is what happened in that case study. It was like it was a millionaire who wanted to make that point. It was a millionaire who tried to make that point, and he's like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna start from scratch to prove it that with hard work and intelligence and making good decisions and good business decisions, you too can be the same. And it went horribly wrong, and he was like on the streets like immediately. Yeah, it didn't work out for him, needless to say. Like, it was actually funny. In fact, I'm pretty sure I went over the story because like it was so funny. He lasted not that long, actually. And he had to end the challenge after the harsh realities of homelessness and health issues. That's what happened. His name was Mike. What is it? I'm looking at it right now. Mike Black was the guy. You can look up the story. This is like the Daily Mail, but you know, whatever. The heart of the story, you know, ignore the Daily Mail. But like the heart of the story is true. You can look up Mike Black and his experiment. Yeah, it didn't go well. Obviously. I heard Sneeko was there and got next to no coverage. Rex Terminator, welcome. I met Hassan Piker, Mehdi Hassan, and Sam Cedar on Tuesday. Nice. That is a massive W. I hope you feel better, Eager. I think Tim said liberals weren't looking up because looking up was canceled and looking down was woke or something dumb like that. I mean, he literally, I wouldn't be surprised. Sneeko was outside trying to rage bait. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Bimmy Boar. As I've said before, woke liberals Sam Cedar and Evra Viglin are so low-rated, they're low-rated. They're not even funny and informative. Jimmy Dore's your new source for comedy and news. Comedy's legal on the Jimmy Dore Show. Yeah, carrot, ginger soup, and enough Dayquil and NyQuil that I might hallucinate becoming a Republican health minister. Good Lord, I hope you get better. That sounds rough.
Trumparelli. How's that? How's this? You call yourself Trumparelli. So awesome. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show.
Okay, we gotta speed run through all of this. So good news, folks. We're just gonna boom, run right through this. SNAP benefits must be fully paid by Trump administration by Friday. So we'll see if that happens. It's unclear because it's the Trump administration. They just basically do whatever they want. Doesn't matter what the judges and the judicial branch says. They just kind of ignore it. So we'll see. We'll see. Trump, Supreme Court lets Trump block trans and non-binary people from choosing passport sex markers in this new horrific anti-trans ruling. On Thursday today, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to enforce a policy blocking trans and non-binary people from choosing passport sex markers that align with their gender identity. This literally is just for cruelty. That's it, because this literally bothers nobody. Okay, this literally messes with nobody. This has nothing to do with anything except being bigoted and bullying trans people. That's it. Okay, because this allowing like what 0.1% of the population to choose a check mark and to just choose to make sure that their passport aligns with their gender identity, just because we want people to live how they want. That's not acceptable in this administration. And really, it's like, it really isn't that big of a deal. Okay, this is just, all this is just hate and bigotry. That's it. That's literally it. Because there's no other purpose for this. Okay. The decision is Trump's latest win on the court's emergency docket and allows the administration to enforce the policy while a lawsuit over it plays out. It halts a lower court order requiring the government to keep letting people choose male, female, or X on their passport to line up their gender identity on new renewed passports. Like, seriously. The court's 3 liberal justices dissented. The High Court has sided with the government in nearly 24 short-term murders on a range of policies since the start of Trump's second term, including another case barring trans people from serving in the military. Fantastic. Programmers try to add a mandatory field on an ancient system for this passport change. Fuck. It also does create an illusion that they accomplished something. Yep. I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so. Womp, 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 womp. That's true. It also creates an illusion that they accomplished something. But, like, really, it's just like, it's just to take a dig at trans people for no reason, right? Like, for literally no reason other than just spite. I mean, seriously, like, who cares? Okay, who cares? In a brief unsigned order, the conservative majority of the court said the policy isn't discriminatory, but it is by definition. Like, it is. Why does Twitch chat have more freedoms than us? Good question. Displaying passports, displaying passports holders' sex at birth no more offends equal protection principles than displaying their country of birth. Oh yeah, dude, same thing. It said in both cases the government is merely attesting to a historical fact without subjecting anyone to differential treatment. Yeah, whatever, dude. Go fuck yourselves, man. Go F yourselves. Like, please. Seriously? Sounds like the whole Value Foundation, such as they have one for the right's politics, spite. Yep. Spite for imagined enemies. Yeah, religious... yeah, I mean, like, this is disgusting, man. Like, come on. You'd be surprised how many of those guys spend time looking up ladyboys. I'm not surprised. 95% of people who care about this haven't even left their country, probably not even their state. Yep, Trump literally didn't give an F about trans people during his first term. He even said, man, you guys really love this trans thing. Who would have thought? Yeah, I mean, like, and yet here we are. And I mean, like, and this does cause, like, problems, right? Like, this does cause problems administratively trying to, like, sort this out. Of course, problems for trans people, which is kind of the point, right? It's always on their mind for a reason. It's probably a distraction from tariffs being found to be illegal. Twitch chat has more freedoms than us because of your YouTube settings. Like, what freedoms do you guys not have that Twitch chat has other than subscribing? Court's 3 liberal justices disagreed, saying in a dissent that those passports make trans people vulnerable to increased violence, harassment, and discrimination. Yes. And we have no mods to approve auto mods. That's true. I should probably get on that. I need at least one. I've been meaning to do that. That is true. That is true. This court has once again paved the way for immediate infliction of injury without adequate or really any justification, said Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, saying the policy stemmed directly from Trump's executive order to describe trans identity as false and corrosive. I agree. That's it. Like, that's really what the core of this problem is. It's just that they don't. It's just that they're bullies and they don't like trans people. They don't like gay people. They don't like anyone from the LGBTQ plus community because they are religious fundamentalists who can't seem to come to terms with the fact that those are just people. Nah, yeah, it's never about small government. It's hard to imagine a system less conducive to accurate information than one in which anyone can refuse to identify as his or her sex without withholding relevant information for any reason, or can rely on a mutable sense of self-identification. Sarah wrote in court documents, which is kind of it's kind of disgusting because, like, in one case they're saying in one hand they're saying, well, it shouldn't matter, right? Like, why are we making such a big deal about people being able to identify as the gender that they identify as, because that's just, like, I don't know, like putting your a country, right? Like, why are we caring about this, right? This is not discriminatory. And then on the other hand, they're saying, well, actually, this is a problem because this is relevant identifying information. So, like, which is it? I hate this timeline. Remember, if you saw someone stealing food, no, you didn't. Later, nerds. Appreciate you hanging out. Eager, get better. Dan Anonymously, welcome. There's a case about it in the 90s here involving someone using it in a conversation with police. Sounds like a group of people trying to control another group of people. Yep. I want to say the F word too. No, you're not allowed to say food here. Okay? Because once you start talking about food, the real F word, then I start getting hungry. Oh, you guys walked into that one. That's saying that, then I get hungry. It's true. It's true. You all start talking about food, you know, and I'm here like, because it's a double whammy. Not only is chat starts to talk about food. You see, I'm already thinking about it. That's how you know. But I can also smell it as it's getting made, or if I see it being delivered, I also see it in my phone. So yeah. Speaking of food, Fuddruckers. Oh, you're telling on yourself, Soul Life. I haven't heard the name Fuddruckers in like 10,000 years, okay? I haven't stepped foot in a Fuddruckers in 10,000 years, okay? That is a blast from the past. That is a blast from the past. That's a name I've not heard in a long, long time. Yeah, I don't even know. Do they still even exist? I thought they went out of business. Oh my god, it does exist. Oh wait, is it the video game restaurant? It's like, I don't know, but they were really known for their burgers. And that's literally like the only thing I had from there. The only thing that I remember. The leader of the company I work for contracted their 747s out for hauling Amazon stuff, and I flew with the birds to unload cargo. Freaky. Alright, folks, let's see how much I can get through this.
But I just want to make it really clear, I'm in the Hitler sucks wing of the Republican Party.
That was closeted homosexual Senator Lindsey Graham tacitly admitting that there is indeed a pro-Hitler wing of the Republican Party, which he is definitely not a part of. Now, he said that to differentiate himself from the members of his party who oppose the modern-day equivalent of Hitler, who's currently carrying out a genocide in Palestine.
I mean, like, so again, like the fact that you have a Nazi problem, the fact that there is a split between like are there, you know, should we allow Nazis in our movement or should we not? The fact that there's already this kind of problem is kind of the issue here, right? Like, why are Nazis finding a home in your party? Okay.
That's the wing that he's part of. But to be clear, the prominent conservatives opposed
Bob's Burgers
to Israel's genocide, they're not taking this position for altruistic reasons. Rather, they're trying to hijack the Palestinian human rights movement to foment hatred against Jewish people.
Yep.
And I'm talking about the actual anti-Semites like Nick Fuentes, who's being mainstreamed right now, while pro-Palestinian protesters who actually do care about human rights are being deported or deplatformed. So in essence, the ongoing civil war within the Republican Party comes down to which Hitler you support. Old Hitler or new Hitler? Decisions, because, I mean, make no mistake about it, they're all fascists at the end of the day who've already sworn fealty to at least one fascist demagogue in addition to Donald Trump. So this is really a debate about who gets an invite to their white Christian nationalist ethno-state. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the conservative leaders trying to rein in their party's explicit racism and anti-Semitism, and why resistance is completely futile at this point. But the latest round of infighting kicked into overdrive after Tucker Carlson caved to pressure from his extremist audience and platformed Hitler-loving, Holocaust-denying white nationalist Nick Fuentes for an embarrassing softball interview, which led to backlash from some fellow conservatives like...
Yep. Oh, wait, you're talking about the crash that happened? Holy crap. The food on the Fuddruckers website doesn't look all that good. Maybe it was like a long time ago. It was maybe a different era, or maybe I just remember it differently, but they had fire burgers. I don't know about nowadays. I like Old Coke because it's old like me. Me too. Cheers. Mike is fire. I agree.
Ben Shapiro, who said this.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds.
Like, first of all, like, please, let's just dispense with the fucking, like, you know, all of a sudden, you're very concerned, Ben Shapiro, about bigotry and racism and xenophobia. Let's just please be for real, Ben Shapiro. Trevor Noah's interview of Josh Johnson is worth a watch. Heck yeah. I worked all winter at that airport, just while seeing something that happened somewhere I'm familiar with. Yeesh. Oh, Dave & Buster's. Okay, Dave & Buster's is alive and well. Has a Coke tie from the Atlanta corporate gift shop. Nice! I actually have to check out the Coke Museum in Atlanta. Also, like, just to be clear, this isn't new. In fact, I've literally made a video about this. I've shown you guys this. Remember? I've shown you guys this. The middle of a civil war, or infighting, if you can even call it that. To be honest, I think that this is more serious than it's being billed, and it's not getting the attention it deserves. Oh man, that was 5 years ago, and here we are. Ben Shapiro.
Blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin. And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party.
Ground level news, welcome.
The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend.
Yeah, and also, Ben, oi! Who do you think laid that groundwork, Ben? Did you think that this came out of nowhere? I even talk about it over here. This is not hyperbole. This is feeble and weak. This is literally what they are. And unfortunately, the defense the other conservatives have mounted are feeble and weak, because in reality, these people are only taking their political ideology to its natural conclusion. Yeah, that's what's happening, Ben. These people are taking your political ideology to its natural conclusion, Ben. Nick Fuentes in that interview says that he was originally inspired by you, Ben. Did he say there's a faction of the Republican Party that idolizes Stalin? In the Tucker Carlson interview, Nick Fuentes says he loves Stalin. And I think the reason why is just because like he probably adulates the fact that like he adulates the idea of authoritarianism. That's probably what it is. But yeah, Nick Fuentes said in that interview with Tucker Carlson that he does idolize Stalin. Tucker said that he was going to ask him about that later and then never did. Yeah. I am seeing less beard. Yeah, it was 5 years ago. Chabino's as grating as ever. I agree. But here we are.
If Republicans decide to cower before the likes of neo-Nazis and their propagandizers, they deserve to lose. And they will lose. Neo-Nazis and their propagandizers are not Republicans. They are not America First. They are not MAGA.
But they are. They are, Ben. They literally calling themselves America First. The original America First movement was a fascist movement, Ben. It started in the 30s, Ben. Where do you think they get America First from? Do you think that they just like invented that? I'll show you your America First, Ben. There's your America First. You want to know where they got that, Ben? That's where they got that from. This is your America First, right here. Pete Gone Bad, welcome. I'm just me. Welcome. Oh, yeah, Jackson Hinkle. Senator McCarthy enjoys a book by Marx. People tear down parking lots so they build more parks, and Jimmy plays the perfect note to never seem sad. There's your America First.
They sure as hell aren't conservative.
They are,
These
Ben.
people aren't.
Like, okay, so just to be clear, like, obviously they don't, like, even Nick Fuentes doesn't consider himself a conservative. But the point being is that your environment breeds it allows these people to exist.
To my right. They're not attached in any way to the fundamental principles of conservatism. And
but they're led by them, Ben. They're led by them and radicalized by them. Just because they're not conservative, right? They're fascists, they're Nazis, doesn't mean they didn't just happen to, like... Nick Fuentes explains this. He says, I started off by listening to people like Ben Shapiro and I forget what other name he made mention, and Trump, and then he was radicalized.
These people have already declared themselves to be my enemies. I'd be a fool not to take them seriously. If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process. My answer is no. No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson.
But you
no
can't,
to those who champion
But
them.
you did. You made the path, Ben. You made the bed. You can't be angry. You're all lying on it. You can't be mad and surprised Pikachu facing when you were warned about this. When you knew what this could lead to. Like years ago. We all need some steely spines these days. None of this weak ass wishy-washy shit.
Them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will
Most
not...
of these guys are reactionaries, though, not conservatives. Yeah, but my argument is that they breed reactionaries, right? Like the conservative ideology is what breeds these people to be like a thing. That's how you get reactionaries.
stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion.
Listen, I loathe Ben Shapiro, but credit where it's due. I think it's important that he says things like this right now. And clearly lines are being drawn, as you can see, but Ben Shapiro isn't the only one condemning Carlson for
and let's be honest, like, hey, Nick Fuentes has existed in that space for years and nobody said anything. The only reason everybody's up in arms about it is because it became public, okay? That's what's happening here. Tucker Carlson made it public.
what he did. At the Republican Jewish Coalition, Mark Levin made similar comments.
For 6 months, I've been fighting these bastards, whether it's Tucker Carlson or whether it's Nick Fuentes, and I've been looking over my shoulder looking for help. And you know what I found? Nothing. What do you mean we don't cancel people? We can't.
Whoa. What do you mean we don't? Whoa. So now you see, like, oh man, it's all clicking. It's all clicking, right? Yeah, exactly. They're reaping what they sowed. It's all clicking. Maybe we shouldn't be platforming Nazis. Maybe it's okay to cancel Nazis.
Cancel stuff all the damn time.
Whoa!
Hitler admirers.
Oh my God! Pro cancel culture. I mean, amazing. Pro cancel culture.
Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. It's called the market system. No.
Yeah. I mean, look. I just to be clear, of course, I'm in favor of canceling and deplatforming Nazis. It's just rich coming from these people.
Hitler admirer, Holocaust denier, platformer should be anybody's friend. As a matter
of Churchill was a racist drunk. If Fuentes and Mamdani teamed up and openly vowed to annihilate ruling Zionist oligarchy, they might get Charlie Kirk or Kennedy or Wellstone. Yeah, but I wouldn't want them to unite. I wouldn't want them to unite. Like, there's no reason to unite with Nick Fuentes, right? Like, just because he cares, just because he's, quote, anti-Israel right now doesn't mean that he's a friend. Does that make sense? Because the reason why he's anti-Israel is because he's a Nazi. He explains this in the Tucker Carlson interview. You can't disassociate Jewish people from Jewishness, and therefore that's why you need to organize the country against unified. You need to unify the country against organized Jewry. That's literally what he said. That's his argument. You can't separate the two. Identity politics is everything, right? Identity politics is everything to these people. Because they're white supremacists. Yeah.
So there's that. Also, other establishment Republicans like Ted Cruz made similar comments, although not everyone was in lockstep here, because Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, the group responsible for Project 2025, actually issued a statement vociferously defending Tucker Carlson.
The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on...
Yeah, there's the principled conservative. There we go. That's right. You don't cancel anyone. There's the principled conservative. Nice. Round of applause for this clown.
Our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right.
Yeah, the friends, just to be clear, the friends being Nazis. Just so we're clear, the friends in question here are Nazis. Anyone drinking? Me? Just Coke for now.
I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either.
So he came out swinging, which amplified divisions on the right after the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal penned a scathing op-ed lambasting right-wingers like Tucker Carlson and Kevin Roberts for normalizing neo-Nazis like Nick Fuentes. It also led to an internal shakeup within the Heritage Foundation, as The Hill reports. But I mean, we're only talking about one dimension of the ongoing civil war within the Republican Party, because other establishment Republicans have been trying to fight the rise of anti-Indian racism within the party, which is a problem, seeing as how there are a lot of prominent Indian Americans who are part of the MAGA movement. But even
so just to be clear, like, if you ever want to be sure that there's like, if you're ever suspect of a page, whether it be a meme page, whether it be, I don't know, a Twitter account or whatever, if you're kind of suspect on whether or not they're Nazi, look for like virulent anti, Indian racism. They are incredibly racist against Indian people. I don't know why. I don't know. Every Nazi page I've come across is just like virulently racist against Indian people. So that's a pretty big tell. It's a pretty big tell if you see that, and it's just if you get the spidey sense tingling, and then you just start seeing a bunch of anti-Indian racism, just really disgusting stuff being said about Indian people, that's a Nazi, like 1000%. No further notes are needed. How about you don't put anyone on a pedestal? I agree. You shouldn't be so close to Nazis that they are mistaken for friends. Exactly. I mean, the fact that there's like Nazis finding a home in the Republican Party is kind of like a case closed for me, right? Because they worked with an Indian who was smarter than they are.
Though they're conservative, it hasn't stopped them from being spared from the base's racism, and it's only gotten worse since last year's H-1B visa debate. For example,
it's okay to punch Nazis as a song.
FBI Director Kash Patel was bombarded with hatred from Trump supporters after he tweeted about Diwali, with fascist podcasters like Joel Webbin telling him to get out of his country. But Patel isn't alone, because on Halloween, Vivek Ramaswamy put out a wholesome post celebrating Halloween, only to be met with the most vile racism imaginable. These screenshots are just a really small sample of the vitriol that he received, with people telling him in a variety of ways to basically get the fuck out of the country.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is literally the type of stuff, like this is literally the type of stuff right here. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. All of these are Nazi accounts. There's a 99% chance that all of these are Nazi accounts. Is it okay to loathe Zionism? Yep. I'm wise, I'm old, I have Captain Morgan. Not a bad choice, honestly.
Country and take his kids with him. And the hate was so extreme that fellow Republican Dinesh D'Souza, who's also Indian American, came to his defense, writing on Twitter, "Look at the abuse Vivek is getting for posting an innocuous photo with his boys. This is the shit show that Heritage and Tucker have brought upon us. If this continues, I would not be surprised to see mass desertions of blacks, Latinos, and other minorities from the GOP. Unreal." Now, expectedly, that led to him facing backlash, with commenters telling him he's brown, therefore his opinion is discarded. I bet that person voted for Donald Trump, who Dinesh supports. But even though Dinesh is trying to blame this on Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, Indian American racism is not a new phenomenon within the Republican Party. Hell, racism specifically directed towards Vivek Ramaswamy himself didn't just start happening after Nick Fuentes.
Elon Musk is a Nazi himself, so he's okay with that. Yep.
Went on Tucker Carlson, because Vivek tried very hard to convince Republican voters in the GOP primary that he wasn't a threat to them when he was running for president, and like, it all fell on deaf ears, because even though he was saying everything that they wanted to hear, there was still one major hurdle that he just couldn't overcome: his race, as Ann Coulter put it.
Oh, and I agreed with many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you. Because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
I mean, it really doesn't get any more explicit than that.
Yep.
But
I mean, like, and these people, man, and these people, it's wild. It's wild. And just says it just like that. I wouldn't vote for you because of who you are. And these people will still shovel shit for the Republican Party. She is a tool. She's the OG Nazi Barbie.
Now Vivek is running to be governor of Ohio, and he's facing more scrutiny over his race and his religion. I mean, just listen to some of the questions that conservative students asked at a recent Turning Point USA event.
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God.
Fix the censor settings for the love of God. Maybe one day still alive. I think you timed me out a long time ago. Probably. I don't remember. Old Granny Nazi. Is this the circular firing squad or a swastika-shaped firing squad? Probably a swastika-shaped firing squad. We need to elect a new
He's
Obama.
part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know, basically...
I just could fall out of the Middle Ages. God is sound people make when they're too afraid to think anymore. Yep. I appreciate the ones who are out of the closet racist. At least they have the cojones to say what they really feel. All this hatred goes back to Trump. Of course, he pulled the cork off the bottle. Yeah. He definitely made it okay. Like, all this racism always existed underneath with the Republican Party. It's just Trump is the guy that facilitated. Trump is the guy that was the vehicle for all of this. That kid is brainwashed. That's not what the founding fathers had in
Why
mind.
you seem to be, and
I can't believe I feel sorry for Vivek. What a horrible, ignorant barrage to have to be put up with. Yeah, I mean, like, racism is not okay. Okay, just because Vivek, shoveled shit for fascism, doesn't mean that the racism against them is okay. It isn't.
I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments?
You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
Yep.
No, I think it's...
They think it is. They absolutely wouldn't want anyone else other than a white Christian male.
No, well... But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And isn't the United States of America also, based on what Protestantism is? It's based on how those values are.
No.
Wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Nope. Goddamn. So, needless to say, the Republican Party has a problem with identity politics. And by identity politics, I, of course, mean white identity politics, i.e. racism.
Yep.
And even though I'm thankful that prominent conservatives are calling it out, I can assure them all that they're not going to be able to control the monsters that they've created. And I want to emphasize the fact that they did indeed create these monsters. They normalized all kinds of racism and bigotry and homophobia and transphobia and misogyny. And Nick Fuentes is simply the logical conclusion.
Oh, shoot. Wait. People are only taking their political ideology to its natural conclusion. Oh, shoot.
To their odious ideology. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, Dinesh D'Souza tweeted a comic of a plane with Mamdani's name on it flying into a building, saying the difference is this time New York might be asking for it, with the insinuation being obviously that all Muslims are responsible for 9/11. Not to mention, Vivek Ramaswamy has repeatedly called trans people mentally ill and argued that their identity shouldn't be affirmed. And while this in no way justifies or excuses racism towards him and his family, he's experiencing a level of dehumanization comparable to the dehumanization that he promoted against other minorities.
Yep. I mean, like, this is the bed y'all made. This is the bed y'all made from the beginning. So you can't, like, I'm not, again, what Mike is saying is true. Like, you can't, there's no excuse, okay, for racism at all, under any circumstance. Under any circumstances, racism okay, even against these fascists themselves. Okay, it is not okay to go and attack people based on their race, based on their sexuality, based on their gender identity. None of that is okay. The stuff that was being said against Vivek Ramaswamy is disgusting. You should not do that. That's not okay under any circumstance. That doesn't mean that Vivek Ramaswamy wasn't a fascist enabler either. So, you know, you can hold those two positions, right? These are not contradictory in any way. You can call out Vivek Ramaswamy for enabling fascism, right, and holding water for fascists, while also saying racism is bad. Period. Point blank. 2 Corinthians walk into a ballroom.
Namely, trans people. And while it's courageous for the likes of Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin to condemn Tucker Carlson for mainstreaming an out and proud white...
They're just butthurt because their racism is backfiring on them. Yeah, and also, like, it hasn't escaped me that the only reason all of this is blowing out of the water right now is because it was public, okay? Like, if the Tucker interview, okay, never was published, and it was just Tucker and Nick Fuentes having conversations and strategizing behind the scenes and meeting with conservative and right-wing media and doing all this stuff, then none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened. It's because it went public, and it's because Nick Fuentes was allowed to speak the way he really thinks. That's why this is happening. Maybe Ben Shapiro makes another rap with Tom McDonald. Please, God, no. Please, God, no. No, the world doesn't need that. The sad part is the blue surge we saw on Tuesday had nothing to do with the right starting to wear this kind of idea on a sleeve. It's because Republican economic policies suck, and so clearly causal to pain a lot of people are feeling economically. I mean, probably that's a huge chunk of it, yes.
Nationalists, they share almost as much culpability as Tucker Carlson, because Ben Shapiro, for example, has spewed the same bigoted rhetoric that he denounced in that video.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I literally said these people have no leg to stand on, because, like, this is just taking their ideology to their natural, like, you can't be Ben Shapiro and then hemming and hawing about like the Nazis that you helped create, right? Like, as ironic as that is. Again, that doesn't mean that Ben Shapiro is wrong for calling out the Nazis. Are you left wing or right wing? Yes.
Famously tweeted that Israelis like to build and Arabs like to bomb crap and live in open sewage. #settlements rock. He's also conspicuously selective about the anti-Semitism that he does choose to condemn. For example, he hired Candace Owens after she seemingly defended Hitler and only really started to take issue with her once she started to criticize Israel. He also excused Elon Musk's Hitler salute because Musk took a trip to Israel for damage control after agreeing with a neo-Nazi on Twitter that was promoting the Great Replacement conspiracy theory and specifically named Jewish people in that particular tweet. So this is why Ben Shapiro's condemnation rings hollow. Not to mention, he mainstreamed Matt Walsh, a self-proclaimed theocratic fascist who's a neo-Nazi for all intents and purposes, just as bad as Nick Fuentes. The only difference between Matt Walsh and Nick Fuentes is that
Matt Walsh knows how to shut up.
Nick Fuentes is more honest and explicit about his Nazi viewpoints, whereas Matt Walsh hides it a little better. As for Mark Levin, it's especially ironic for him of all people to sound the alarm, given how he bears responsibility for Nick Fuentes' radicalization. I mean, let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
You listen to Mark Levin every day?
Yep.
In high school, yes.
There it is. That's the guy. That's the guy I was thinking about, Mark Levin.
I was a fan. But I'll never forget one show. He goes live and he says, America's becoming a majority non-white country. Does anybody think that's a good idea? And I was thinking to myself,
and that's the villain origin story of this Nazi.
Yeah, that actually doesn't sound so good. I didn't really even think that America's becoming majority minority like that.
Keep in mind, this guy's Hispanic. His name is Nick Fuentes.
So
you were radicalized on race by Mark Levin?
Yes.
Are you making that up? Or that's
a real story.
Amazing.
Amazing. Oh, so you became radicalized on race, i.e., you became a white supremacist because of Mark Levin.
He planted the seed, at least.
Yeah. So you see, even though I guess I'm thankful in a way that there's finally this concerted effort among the right to curb the open racism within the Republican Party.
I don't agree with that, actually. I think the Republican Party is kind of a little bit, they're only angry because it came out on the open. That's what they're angry about, not the racism. If I may, I could be wrong. Maybe Mike Figueroa is right. But my take and my perception of this is like the problem here isn't that they're fundamentally angry about the anti-Semitism itself. Not really. Or maybe someone like Ben Shapiro might be. I could believe Ben Shapiro might be angry about anti-Semitism, like actual Nazi shit. But I believe like fundamentally the problem is that it came out in the open. You're not supposed to say that shit out in the open. Okay? They don't have the power that they need. They need to. They should have. It's kind of the cat's out of the bag now. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But yeah, you're not supposed to like, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to say these things until you have all the power on lockdown, which they don't. Tito Fuentes, sí. Nick Fuentes, no. Sorry to hear that, Soul Life. That's horrible. Probably European Spaniard. That's true. Remember humanity and forget the rest. If you can do so, the way lies open to a new paradise. If you cannot, there lies before you the risk of universal death.
I mean, I just can't help but feel like it's too late. Too little, too late. You simply can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yep.
And the reason why it's not going to work and why their viewers aren't going to listen to them is because the modern day conservative movement is built on a foundation of hatred.
Yeah.
Trump just won the last election by fomenting hatred against immigrants. He ran on mass deportation, literally. And now he's doing that. The Republican Party spent the last 5 years calling all LGBTQ plus people groomers. The party is currently trying to gut the Voting Rights Act so that way they can disenfranchise black people in the South again and bring back the Jim Crow status quo. So, I mean, I don't understand why they're so surprised that the conservative base took their ideology to its logical conclusion. Like, why would they bite their tongues when it comes to Jewish people and Indian Americans when they've been taught that it's okay to openly hate immigrants and Muslims and queer people? It doesn't make sense to them because if you're a bigoted Tucker Carlson viewer or Ben Shapiro viewer for that matter, it seems arbitrary to draw certain lines or make exceptions for some minorities. If you give them explicit permission to hate some minorities, they're going to view that as a green light that they can hate all minorities because they're all the same to them at the end of the day. If they ain't white, they ain't right.
Yep.
In their minds, Indian and Jewish people are just as inferior as trans people and immigrants are, right? And that's why the condemnations of Tucker Carlson haven't resonated with their audiences because it's ideologically inconsistent and feels arbitrary. Like, you can't tell them it's okay to hate these people, but you can't hate these people. That just doesn't make any sense. But again, that's not to say that I oppose them speaking out. They should speak out, seeing as how the Nazi strain in their party does pose an existential threat to all of us. But that doesn't mean that they're that much better than Tucker Carlson because they aided and abetted the rise of fascists like Donald Trump, who's currently creating the society that gets Nick Fuentes that much closer to the white Christian dystopia that he wants so badly.
Yeah, I mean, like, Nick Fuentes is literally like, he literally had lunch or dinner with Donald Trump, the current president of the United States. I mean, like, that's about as close as it gets, folks.
And so long as the so-called moderate conservatives like Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and others continue to hyper-focus on the demonization of marginalized minorities, they don't have a fucking leg to stand on, in my opinion.
That's literally
but
what
they're
I
not going to
said.
stop fomenting hatred and division, because conservatives and their entire business model is premised on them pitting Americans against each other. So that way, if we're fighting each other, we're not going to take on the oligarchs at the top who are robbing us blind. The same oligarchs who fund Ben Shapiro's show, by the way, who fund all of these conservative talk radio shows, by the way. But with all of that being said, let them fight, okay? Let these motherfuckers fight, because at the end of the day, if they fight, at a minimum, them being divided is going to make them less effective, which is objectively good for this country. So, to that I say, have at it, fellas. Keep fighting, and we have to do our best to fan the flames, because they have to go at it. I want them to fight. Yep. They have to fight, and let them duke it out. I hope it gets ugly.
Same. All right, folks, we got one more story. We got one more. It's a feel-good story. Okay, there we go. This is OBS telling me it's about that time. All right, folks. Quickly. We're back. Refresh and we're back. Let's do it. Quick. Gotta be quick. DC sandwich store found not guilty in misdemeanor assault case speaks after acquittal. The jury found Sean Dunn, the man accused of throwing a sandwich at a customs border agent in Washington, D.C., not guilty of misdemeanor assault after 3 days of testimony and dozens of exhibits. Not all heroes wear capes, folks. Dunn hugged his attorneys after the verdict, and I'm relieved and looking forward to moving on with my life. Speaking outside the courthouse, he said, that night I believed I was protecting the rights of immigrants, recalling his encounter with CBP. Nice. Nice. Took them 7 hours to figure it out. Hey, you gotta do your due diligence, you know what I mean? The sandwich heard around the world, folks. The sandwich heard around the world. Sheriff signaled her strategy immediately in her closing arguments on Wednesday, saying, this case, ladies and gentlemen, is about a sandwich. She said a sandwich that landed intact, still in its Subway wrapping. There you have it, folks. The prosecutors played a video of Dunn admitting to officers, I did it. I threw a sandwich. I did it to draw them away from where they were. Yeah, I mean... Gotta bounce. Thank you. Appreciate it, Kirkenstein. YouTube is still good. That's good. Is it warmer here or is it the rum? It's definitely rum because it's kind of cold. It's kind of cold outside. Anyways, let's get out of here, folks. Oop, sorry, wrong one. Let's get out of here, folks. It's past 7 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you guys being here. You guys are what makes this channel go. Thank you all. Thank you to the new follows and thank you for your support. If you want to support the channel directly, do all the things. Okay, folks, check out the merch store. Check out the Substack, Discord, this space, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Do all the stuff, folks. All the links and all the things and all the doodads, and hit the like, share, subscribe, spread the word, folks. We are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and it really does help us out. It's true. You guys are great. You deserve that. It's true. You guys are great. Thank you, Michael Astor. Thank you, Heat, for modding the chat. Stay safe and have a good weekend. You too, Ladybug. Appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you all. We'll be getting out of here in just a moment. If I can figure this out. Where are we going? All right. I'm ready. Thank you all, as always. Ooh, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. Ooh, I hit the right button. Yeah, come to the Discord and watch stuff. Or just hang out. Who cares? It's an open Discord. All right, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.